This is the Logitech G Pro X Superlight 2. It is the most popular gaming mouse in the esports scene. Your favorite player's favorite player uses this mouse. From major winners to Valorant champions, from the GOAT Simple to the Brazilian assassin Aspas, they all have unanimously decided that this will be their weapon of choice when going to war in tournaments and spending countless of hours in scrims. And this is the new kid on the block. This is the Razer Viper V3 Pro.
Nice shot. Nice.
One enemy remaining. Wow, so embarrassing.
You know what I mean? It's Razer's attempt at dethroning the Logitech G Pro X Superlight. So in this video, we're going to discuss the similarities, the differences, who are each of these mice for, and what do they do a good job of. And I'm going to give you recommendations based on your sensitivity, what games you play, and your aiming style. So buckle your seatbelts, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. So I have been using the G Pro X Superlight 2 as my main mouse for 7 months, but ever since Razer Viper V3 Pro came out, I have been using this as my main mouse for the past 3 weeks. And I have posted the detailed reviews of both of these mice on the channel. Y'all can check it out in the description. First of all, let's talk about the objective specs of each of the mouse. The G Pro X Superlight 2 comes in at 60 grams with the bottom puck and 59 grams without. The Viper V3 Pro in black comes in at 54 grams and white at 55 grams. The Superlight 2 uses the Hero 2 sensor, and the Viper uses the Focus Pro Gen 2. The Superlight 2 can go up to 4K Hz pooling via the new firmware update, and the Viper V3 Pro goes up to 8K Hz out of the box with the included hyper pooling dongle. Superlight 2 uses Omron opticals with a 98 grams of actuation force. The Viper V3 Pro uses Razer opticals with a 68 grams of actuation force. The Superlight 2 is $141 or $150 depending on the colorway, but you can frequently find it on sale since it has been a while since its launch. The Razer Viper V3 Pro comes in at $160 for both the white and the black version. I will leave the Amazon links for both of these mouse in the video description. And these are what comes in the box for each. The packaging is pretty similar, comes with the mouse, the receiver, the cable, and a set of overgrips. The receiver from the Razer Viper V3 Pro is the hyper pulling dongle and supports up to 8K Hz pulling, where the GPX2 receiver is just the standard G Pro X Superlight receiver that comes in the box when it initially only supported 2K Hz pulling. But since Logitech have updated via firmware update to support up to 4K Hz pulling on the G Pro X Superlight 2. Now let's dig into the shape, weight, and comfort differences of these mice. This should be the biggest difference maker when choosing between these two mice, as they often say in the mouse community, shape is king, which is very true. The shape of these two mice is not as similar as some people think. However, they are both ambidextrous mice with a hump towards the center, which makes them both the optimal shape for claw and palm grip users. And that is all of the similarities there are in the shape. Now let's talk about the differences in the shape, weight, and comfort. The most obvious difference in hand is the width and the comfort grooves on the clicks. After grinding ranked Valorant and aim labs with both of these mice, I have came to the conclusion that the narrower width and the higher weight of the G Pro X Superlight 2 makes a better choice for micro adjustments in hand, therefore making it the optimal choice for higher sense claw and fingertip grips, comparing to the Viper's wider and lighter feel in hand, making it better for lower sense players who play with palm or claw grip. The GPX performs exceptionally well in micro adjustment and static scenarios in aim labs where a lot of precision and stability is required. And the Viper performs amazingly in scenarios where larger flicks and constant movement of the mouse is required, such as tracking or multi-shot scenarios. And the more aggressive curves on the side of the mouse plus the comfort grooves on the clicks makes the Viper a more comfortable shape, especially for long hours of gaming. I find myself sometimes having finger fatigues with the Superlight, but with the Viper I had no issue playing ranked for 6 hours straight. So how does this shape and weight difference translate in game? So with the lighter weight, longer and wider shape, the Viper V3 Pro have a clear advantage over the GPX when it comes to tracking heavy games, such as Apex Legends, Overwatch, or any arena shooter titles. But the GPX will be more optimal when it comes to tac shooters where high precision and stable angle holding is required, so games like CS2 and Valorant. However, that is not the entire story. Depending on your sensitivity and aiming style in-game, they also perform differently. For example, with the 320 EDPI in Valorant, and as a primary duelist and opper, the Viper would fit my playstyle more than the GPX, as I'm constantly clearing multiple angles as a duelist and making large flicks with the op. So the Viper V3 Pro is more suitable for entry fraggers or more aggressive players, and the GPX is for players with calmer aim and often holds an angle for a very long time and needs precise micro adjustments. Also, the narrower width of the GPX is more suitable for people with smaller hands compared to the Viper. So the Viper definitely feels larger in hand in all grip styles. So if you have hand sizes smaller than 17 by 9 centimeters, the Viper would feel very large and wide in hand. So here's a chart I made that compares the scenarios of each and where it performs better, comparing sends, hand sizes, and of course it considers the same mouse pad. The Viper V3 Pro also has a more aggressive taper of the hump, which makes its hump less profound in grips where your palm and bottom knuckles aren't laying on the mouse. Where for the G Pro X Superlight, you can feel the hump even if you are using an aggressive claw grip. So I would definitely say the GPX has a more noticeable hump in hand, where the Viper is only noticeable if you're using a palm grip or a variation of claw grip where you have lots of palm and bottom knuckle contact. In conclusion of the shape, weight, and comfort, they are both considered safer shapes that suits most claw and palm grip users. However, the G Pro X Superlight is narrower in hand, which allows for better micro adjustments and possibility of fingertip grip, just like something from PRX uses the GPX with a very high sensitivity and fingertip grip. And the lighter weight of the Viper V3 Pro allows for faster maneuverability and freer movement in game. The more profound curves of the Viper also provide a more comfortable experience for long sessions. As I have mentioned earlier, these mice have very different feeling clicks. Even though both uses optical switches, the Razer opticals have a very light click and lower actuation force, making the Viper very easy to spam and also misclick in intense scenarios if you have your fingers rested directly above the switches. The GPX2 have way heavier and crispier clicks, making the GPX clicks very hard to spam comparatively. Now, what does this mean in game? So if you play a game where lots of spamming of the main clicks are required, the Viper V3 Pro is a clear winner. However, if you play a game where you're mostly single clicking and tapping the clicks, the G Pro X Superlight 2 clicks would feel a lot crispier. So for games like Valorant, I would prefer the clicks of the G Pro X Superlight 2 over the Viper V3 Pro. But if I was playing something like League of Legends, then I would prefer the Viper's clicks. And with this heavier and crispier clicks, it also makes the GPX2 clicks way louder than the Viper. Now let's talk about side buttons and scroll wheel clicks. These side buttons are very similar to the main clicks, where the GPX have a heavier and crispier click, and the Viper have lighter and quieter side button clicks. However, the G Pro X's super wheel clicks are very muted, and the Viper's scroll wheel clicks is very tactile. So the Viper definitely have a way better scroll wheel click than the G Pro X Superlight 2. As far as pre and post travel goes, the Viper V3 Pro have very minimal to almost non-pre-travel on the main clicks and some pre and post travel on the side clicks. For the G Pro X Superlight 2, there are very minimal pre-travel and almost non-post travel on the main clicks, and some pre-travel but lots of post travel on the side clicks. Here's a sound test of all of the clicks. Now let's talk about another difference, which being the sensor positioning. So there's a slight difference in sensor positioning of these mice, where the Viper V3 Pro's sensor sits a little lower than the GPX, and this makes the immediate transition from G Pro X Superlight 2 to the Viper V3 Pro a little challenging. Including DPI deviation and sensor precision difference, I had to play for 2 to 3 hours to fully get adjusted to my regular aim with the Viper V3 Pro. Not only the sensor, but the side buttons of the Viper V3 Pro also sits lower than the GPX. So if you have a very forward grip with your wrist hovering over the mousepad and making no contact, then the back side buttons of the Viper V3 Pro can be difficult to spam. Finally, the scroll wheel of the GPX also sits higher off the chassis than the Viper, which allows you to scroll more steps at once. And now let's talk about the coating. Both the Viper V3 Pro and the GPX have very good coatings, especially for people with sweaty hands. They both get grippier the sweatier and warmer your hands get. But there are some differences with the white and the black version of the Viper V3 Pro. And I go deeper into this difference in my Viper review video, so you can check it out if you're interested. But here I showcase that you can grip and lift the mouse up with only 3 fingers, as my hands were very sweaty. However, this is not possible to achieve with dry and clean hands. For people who have extremely dry hands or just when your hands are clean and dry, I would rank the grippiness of the coating from the most to the least being the Black Viper, the GPX, then the White Viper V3 Pro. The Black Viper V3 Pro and the GPX have very similar texture and rough coating, while the White Viper V3 Pro have a smoother coating when you have dry hands. And now let's talk about the stock skates. This is a major difference between these two mice. The stock skates that comes with the G Pro X Superlight 2 is horrible and needs to be replaced as soon as possible by aftermarket skates. I personally have the core pads on my unit. The stock skates of the GPX is horrible because it is very thin, and after a couple hours of playing, you might find the bottom of the mouse start scraping on the mouse pad. Comparatively, the stock skates of the Viper is very solid. I have been playing with it for 3 weeks now and I have had no issues. And I am not in a hurry to replace these. However, they do need some time to break in, as at first they were more controlled and becomes faster over time. Now let's talk about build quality. Both of these mice have awesome build quality and stands at top of the pyramid compared to other smaller brands. However, the G Pro X Superlight 2 does have a thicker chassis, which makes it feel more solid and more of a tank in hand. So no matter how hard you squeeze the mouse, it will not budge at all. And that is all of the similarities and differences we will cover in today's comparison. If you think I have missed something, make sure to leave it in the comments and I will try to answer you there. So although these two mice are both top tier esports offering, there are still loads of differences. And these differences are important when choosing one over the other for your personal scenario. But if I had a gun pointed to my head and I had to recommend one over the other, my choice would be the Razer Viper V3 Pro. Just because of its newer tech, comfort, and better out-of-the-box experience with the stock skates. So with that being said, the Razer Viper V3 Pro will be my main mouse of choice going forward. And I'll see you guys in Radiant live at twitch.tv/userflynn. And if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. That is all from me. Peace.
Cypher is definitely.
Joke's over! You're dead!
12 odds.
What the fuck is going on, bro? Yo, on the... What the fuck is this round, bro? What is it? What am I playing?
B-main.
What the fuck?